Right, as once again Vasmar starts the men off this time. Again, the seeded athletes, the top 10 ranked, have special colour swim caps. The white caps, general colour. Look out for in blue, royal blue, Eric van der Linden, who is the defending champion here. He won last year, had that runaway victory during the final 10-kilometre run. Craig Watson in yellow, the New Zealander, ranked number 2. Good to see we've got some other than Europeans now competing consistently on the European Cup. Frank Bignet in pink, that early winner in Le Grand Motte in France. Orange is Petteri Kosonen, the Finnish athlete. Fedor Filipov in Benetton green, and Martin Kranovic, the Czech athlete, in dark blue. Should be black, but looks like blue to me. So leading at the moment is the Benetton green color of Fedor Filipov from Russia. Also in that trio is Ben Bright, and Peter Alder, the Swiss athlete, is with them. So our triumvirate of Filipov, Bright and Alder now go round the turn. We've got a whole pack behind them. In fact, the pink, that's Bignet, just gone through. Yellow is Craig Watson, so he's up there to the fore. And Eric van der Linden is not that far off. But it's the Russian, Filipov, who's pushing them along quite nicely, the 22-year-old. Another one from the St. Petersburg club. Currently ranked 5 on the European Cup, and back in 1995 he was 38th on the ETU World Championships in Cancun, Mexico. The following year he was 29th, so he's improving a little bit. This year he was 38th in the Europeans up in Vuokatti, Finland. So certainly his strength is the swimming and biking, and like a lot of these Russians, they tend to fade away a bit towards the end, but I'm sure over the next couple of years, especially with the Olympics coming up in Sydney in 2000, that will change. So they're coming up towards the end of the swim, and it's still Filipov. He's just about led throughout. Right behind is the Czech athlete Milos Jolika is behind him, and Kranovic, another Czech athlete in the dark blue and yellow. That's Watson. Just see the pink cap of Bignet. So Filipov's out in 17 minutes and 16 seconds. There's Jolika, the Czech athlete, Watson, Kranovic, Alder, and van der Linden through the picture with Bignet right behind. And now it's another change. Get the wetsuit off. There's Ben Bright just gone through the picture. 17:20 swim time for him. So there's a lot of good athletes here. They say the cream comes to the top, and it's certainly coming to the top quite early in this European Cup race at the 60th Alpen Triathlon in Schliersee. So now there's Filipov, got his bike, fairly conventional bike fame for him as he goes out now. This is van der Linden, taking it fairly easy. No mistakes at this stage of the competition for him. So now it's the 40 kilometers of biking. It's a very demanding course, 16% at times uphill, 22% some of the downhill gradients, so it's tough and slow upwards, and under these conditions a little treacherous under wheel on the descent, so they're going to have to be a little careful. But Kranovic and Bright are leading at the moment, and with them is Watson, van der Linden in the yellow. That's Bright going through, the Australian. He's one of the many Australians spending the summer in Europe. Van der Linden right in the middle of the picture with Bright and Kranovic. So these three are getting away slightly. I don't know who that is on the mountain bike. And behind we've got the likes of Bignet and Watson and that chasing pack. This is van der Linden setting the pace at the moment. 24-year-old from Schlagen in Holland, a physiotherapist by profession, but I don't think he does much of that at the moment. This is the French and Frank Bignet. Had a great start to the season. Of course, he's got a brother, Stéphane Bignet, who we know more about, but the younger brother, Frank, decided to race on the series this year, and what a start it was in Le Grand Motte when he annihilated the field. But this is up at the front again with van der Linden and Ben Bright. They seem to be getting slightly away from Kranovic. Perhaps he's not so strong on the uphills, but on the descents, he's certainly a little better. So van der Linden comes around that tight bend. Yep, Kranovic is back with Ben Bright. So as I suspected, the Czech athlete is better on the descents. That's Fedor Filipov, that swim leader going through with Peter Alder. Now it's the Nicholas climb, or the Nicholas route climb. We've just gone past 12 kilometers with Van der Linden, Bright and Kranovic winding their way up this, well, a bit of a drag really. I suppose the only consolation for them is it's not too hot. The rain is keeping them. Or a Grimace, I'm not so sure. Annelia Emerson. But up front still for the men, it's Eric Van der Linden. He's broke clear of Bright and Kranovic, and Fedor Filipov is found a little wanting on the bike section as well. So the Dutch athlete breaking clear, currently ranked 4th on the European Tour. This is Benny Bright and Kranovic behind. See, this really is a lovely part of the countryside, but they're certainly not having the best of the weather. But Van der Linden doesn't seem to care. The man from Schagen is going along quite nicely. This year he was 6th at Romont, 7th at Giel, 5th at Zundert, and 18th in the European Championships at Vuokeli, which of course Britain's Spencer Smith was victorious at. So he has a little look behind, but he doesn't seem to have too much problems from behind. Filipov and Alder coming through the picture here. Well, as they start grinding the way up the big climb, we'll go for a short break and just see how they get on. Welcome back to the European Triathlon Cup in Schliersee, Germany. We're with our leader, Eric Van der Linden. He's on the Spitzensee climb. And Benny Bright is down in 2nd place with the Czech athlete, Martin Kranovic. But certainly Eric Van der Linden is stamping his authority on this race. It's a race he certainly likes because he is the defending champion. He won here last year. But moving through, it's Peter Alder and Christophe Mauch from Switzerland, as Van der Linden continues to push the big gear up the big climb. And this is a tough climb. It goes on for a good 5 kilometers as they make their way up to the Spitzensee summit. But that doesn't seem to deter Eric Van der Linden. Great support here considering the conditions. It's pretty miserable out there, but Van der Linden certainly doesn't seem to care. Benny Bright still in 2nd position. Was that a Mexican wave or perhaps a German wave we saw there? But certainly Benny Bright is going through, as looks like Christophe Mauch here, or is it Peter Alder right behind? It's Peter Alder with Martin Kranovic now. Number 7 is Peter Alder, so the other Swiss athlete Mauch is a little bit behind. But Van der Linden's now back into the park, the Arabella Hotel Spitzensee. That's where the transition area is, and his bike split was 1:08:59, 1 hour 8 minutes and 59, which, considering if it was a really fat course, they'd be going about 55, 56 minutes. That really does show you how tough this Schliersee, the Sixtus Alpen triathlon course, is. So it's the final change for Van der Linden, and then out on the final 10-kilometer run. And it's a very pleasant run here through the woods and trails of the surrounding countryside. As Benny Bright comes in now, he's 1 minute and 39 seconds behind Van der Linden. 1:10:34 bike split for him. 1 hour 10 minutes and 34. There's Peter Alder, the Swiss athlete, comes through in 3rd position with Martin Kranovic, the Czech athlete, right behind Benny Bright now. Makes his way out onto the final run as Alder comes in to get rid of this wet clothing, because I can tell you it's pretty miserable conditions out there, and they're certainly wet and dripping with sweat and with the rain. So Alder's out on, as in knee, as we go back to the men's now. We're about 3 kilometers in. The first 3 kilometers are pretty fast and furious because it's downhill. We've got Philip Osplay, the Czech athlete, with Craig Watson just up ahead, Fedor Filipov, and Benny Bright now is still in 2nd place with Van der Linden up ahead. Here he is. And he knows this course extremely well because he's the defending champion. He won here last year, and in fact he won on the run. Now they're on this big climb. This is a tough climb, very deceiving. The camera angle doesn't really show how hard it is, and it's a bit slippery underfoot because they're on the trails of the woods. Van der Linden doesn't seem to care. He's pushing his way up, as is Benny Bright in 2nd position, but you can see Benny's been certainly slowed down considerably by this climb, and now you can see how tough this climb is. That's Christophe Mauch on the front with Martin Kranovic and Peter Alder, the other Swiss athlete, behind. So Mauch is on a mission at the moment. He's moved through now, into 3rd position, and Mauch, Osseplay and older are struggling just a little bit, but this is Mauch and Osplay. That's the battle at the moment. So Kranovic has dropped off the pace, and Markus Keller also moving through. Well, this is a good run by Keller. He's now in 5th position, with Benny Bright still in 2nd position, but up front it's still that man Van der Linden, the Dutchman, and he's coming up towards the closing stages of this run. This is back at the lake that they started in off, Lake Spitzensee. As Van der Linden now, he's just got to run around the lake, and the finish is just about in sight for him. Here it is. So Van der Linden, he opened today with a 1500-meter swim in 17 minutes and 26 seconds. Then he jumped on his bike and rode a 1:08.59 for the 40 kilometers. And now he's coming up to finish this round of the European Cup in Schliersee, the Sixth Open Triathlon, with a final 36:11 run. Total time 2 hours, 2 minutes and 36 seconds, should I say, for the Dutchman. So he defended the title. In 2nd position, Benny Bright now coming through, and that's a good performance by Bright. First time we've seen him on the European Cup this year. Let's hope he follows it. So he's through in 2:04.53, just 2 minutes behind Van der Linden, and Mauch moves through into 3rd position with Keller making 4th. So Swiss 3rd and 4th. Good performance by the Swiss duo. And we caught up with Van der Linden and asked him about the race here in Schliersee.
Yeah, I had a very good race. Also in the swim, I was in front. Last year I was 1 minute behind after the swim, and now I was already in front of the field. And on the bike, it was very easy for me. I was away with Ben Bright and Martin Kranovic from Czech Republic, and I was pushing it until the last hill. And on the last hill, I came alone on top of the field, and the run was easy then for me.
Well, if anything is easy. So Van der Linden wins, and he goes 3rd overall on the series. Craig Watson moves into the #1 spot. 370 points. Emmanuel Dubuis of France is 2nd. He didn't race here. Van der Linden 3rd.